The grocery clerk and the little girl. The rain fell in steady sheets across the supermarket parking lot, turning the asphalt into a mirror of gray clouds and flickering streets. Sarah Mitchell adjusted her red polo shirt and checked her name tag one more time before stepping out into the storm. Her shift had ended 20 minutes ago, but she'd stayed late to help Mrs. Henderson load groceries into her car. Sarah had worked at supermarket for 3 years now, ever since she'd dropped out of college to help support her younger brother. At 24, she'd learned to find satisfaction in the small moments. A thank you from an elderly customer, a child's giggle when she made funny faces at the checkout, the way her manager, Mr. Rodriguez, always made sure she got her breaks on time. The parking lot was nearly empty now, just a few scattered cars belonging to the late shift workers. Sarah pulled her jacket tighter and hurried toward the bus stop, her sneakers splashing through puddles. The storm had come out of nowhere, the kind of sudden downpour that caught everyone off guard. That's when she heard it, a small, frightened cry cutting through the sound of rain. Sarah stopped walking and listened. There it was again, a child's voice, scared and alone. She turned toward the sound, scanning the parking lot with careful eyes. Near the far edge, where the lighting was dimmer, she spotted a small figure huddled against a shopping cart. Return. Without hesitation, Sarah ran toward the child, her heart pounding with concern. As she got closer, she could see it was a little girl, maybe 3 or 4 years old, wearing a pink dress that was now soaked through. The child clutched a white stuffed rabbit against her chest, tears streaming down her face as she shivered in the cold rain. "Hey there, sweetheart," Sarah called softly, slowing her approach so she wouldn't frighten the child further. "Are you okay? Where's your mommy or daddy?" The little girl looked up at Sarah with wide blue eyes full of fear and confusion. "I can't find daddy," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the rain. "He said wait in the car, but I dropped Bunny. I went to get Bunny, and now I can't find the car." Sarah's heart broke at the sight of this frightened child, lost and alone in the storm. She knelt down, bringing herself to the girl's eye level, careful to maintain a gentle distance. "What's your name, honey?" "Emma," the child replied, holding her stuffed rabbit even tighter. "This is Bunny. She got scared when the thunder came." "Well, Emma, my name is Sarah, and I work here at the store. I'm going to help you find your daddy, okay?" Sarah kept her voice calm and soothing, despite the urgency she felt. She glanced around the parking lot, looking for any sign of a frantic parent searching for their child. Emma nodded slowly, trust beginning to replace some of the fear in her eyes. "Daddy has a big black car. It's really long." Sarah smiled encouragingly. "That helps a lot. Let's get you out of this rain first, and then we'll find your daddy together." She stood up and held out her hand. "Would you like to come with me? I promise I'll keep you safe." The little girl hesitated for just a moment before taking Sarah's hand. Her small fingers were cold and wet, and Sarah immediately wrapped her jacket around Emma's shoulders. Together they walked toward the store's covered entrance where they'd be protected from the storm. "You know what, Emma?" Sarah said as they walked. "Bunny is very lucky to have someone who cares about her so much. Not everyone would brave a storm to save their best friend." Emma looked up at Sarah with a small smile. "Bunny's not just my friend. She's my family. Daddy says family means we never leave each other behind." Those words hit Sarah deeper than she expected. She thought about her own brother, how she'd given up her dreams to make sure he could pursue his, how she'd never once regretted that choice. Because that's what family meant to her too. As they reached the store's entrance, Sarah noticed a figure running toward them through the rain. A tall man in a dark suit, his face etched with panic and relief in equal measure. Behind him, Sarah could see a sleek black limousine with its door standing open. "Emma," the man called out, his voice breaking with emotion. "Daddy." Emma let go of Sarah's hand and ran toward her father, who scooped her up in his arms and held her tight. Sarah watched the reunion, feeling a warm satisfaction in her chest despite the cold rain that had started to soak through her shirt again. This was why she did what she did. She realized these moments of human connection, of being able to help when it mattered most. The man looked over at Sarah, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I don't know how to thank you enough. She was supposed to wait in the car while I handled a phone call. When I came back and she was gone." He trailed off, unable to finish the sentence. "She's safe now," Sarah replied simply. "That's all that matters." The man studied Sarah's face, taking in her employee name tag and her genuine smile. "You work here?" "Yes, sir. I was just heading home when I heard Emma calling for help." Emma piped up from her father's arms. "Sarah saved me and Bunny. Daddy, she kept us safe from the storm." The man extended his hand to Sarah. "I'm David Thompson. This is my daughter Emma, and apparently, you're our guardian angel." Sarah shook his hand, surprised by the sincerity in his voice. "Just Sarah Mitchell, and I'm no angel, just someone who cares." David Thompson looked at Sarah with new understanding. He'd spent most of his adult life in boardrooms and business meetings, surrounded by people who wanted something from him. But this young woman had helped his daughter simply because it was the right thing to do. She expected nothing in return. "Sarah," he said carefully, "I'd like to do something for you, to show my appreciation." Sarah shook her head immediately. "That's not necessary, Mr. Thompson, really. I'm just glad Emma is safe. But David Thompson had already made up his mind. In those few minutes, watching Sarah comfort his frightened daughter, he'd seen something rare. Genuine kindness. The kind of character he looked for in the people he trusted most. As the rain began to lighten, Emma looked up at her father. "Daddy, can Sarah come have dinner with us sometime? I want to show her my room and all of Bunny's friends." David Thompson smiled at his daughter, then looked back at Sarah. "I think that sounds like a wonderful idea, Emma. And Sarah, I hope you'll consider it. You've given me back the most precious thing in my life. The least I can do is give you a chance at something better." Sarah looked between father and daughter, seeing not wealth or status, but a family who understood what it meant to care for each other, just like she'd always cared for her brother. "I'd like that very much," she said softly, as the storm clouds began to part. Sarah realized that sometimes the most ordinary moments can change everything. Sometimes helping others helps us find exactly where we belong.